When I first met you, I was in the middle of crisis. I was in the middle of a firestorm. My dogs would have died if not for you.
Liz Kreutz, NBC News, Los Angeles.
We'll keep an eye out for that bestseller. We thank Liz for that story, and we thank you for watching Nightly News. I'm Tom Yamas in Los Angeles. Have a great night.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adai Itano program. Apply at matson.com. Cars Plus starts something new sales event going on now with up to 20% off on Jeep Gladiators. Get to Cars Plus today. And McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime, a woman is seriously hurt after being hit by a car in Harmon Monday night. The crash unfolding steps away from where KUAM was interviewing people about being homeless on Guam.
A near-fatal crash brings Guam's homelessness and road safety issues into sharp focus, the AG urging the governor to step up. I'm Nevaeh Anderson with the story coming up.
A growing debate on panhandling. What do residents think about panhandling, and what do they think can solve this matter? I'm Rachel Sutt with the story coming up.
Half a day and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day.
Well, coverage about the island's homeless population living steps away from our Harmon studios leads to a shocking turn of events. We brought you the breaking story overnight on KUAM Digital.
Tonight, a woman is recovering in the hospital after being hit by a car while crossing the street in Harmon Monday night.
Our cameras capturing the horrific moment. We immediately call 911 for help. We do warn our viewers, the video you're about to see may be disturbing.
KUAM News was interviewing some of the homeless staying along Route 16 in Harmon Monday.
So Janice, tell me, what's it like being homeless on Guam?
It's really tough.
Why so?
Well, because you have to worry about yourself and the people around you.
Here we are talking with Janice off camera.
How do you survive every day? What do you do to make sure you get your next meal?
I try to ask my family, my friends. If not, if they can't help me, then I don't eat.
On camera, we see her cousin Jesselyn standing at the median, waving over a friend to help bring boxes across a busy Route 16. What happens next, we do warn viewers, was even tough for our news crews to witness.
She's been homeless on Guam for 2 decades.
The woman is hit by a car heading in the direction of the mall. She was not at the crosswalk. Janice and others rush over to help out. Immediately, we dialed 911.
We have an auto-pedestrian crash on Route 16 near Harmon Loop Road.
Then, trying to get as much details about the car involved and the woman's condition.
Sorry, I'm trying to confirm which car it is. Which car? Which car? Which one? What color? What color?
The car involved turned around and parked in the center lane until police showed up. We stay on the phone with 911 dispatchers.
Her eyes are open. Yeah, I'm on the phone with them now. Don't move her, Janice. Don't move, don't move.
A bystander and a Guam police officer are the first to pull over to help out before more first responders arrive to the scene. Medics with the Guam Fire Department put her into the ambulance and take her to the Guam Regional Medical City. We caught up with GFD spokesperson Lieutenant Nick Garrido at the scene.
All we got was at 1733 GFD units were responded here to Route 16 and from the GE self-storage for a reported auto-pedestrian incident involving a female. Right now, based on the injury sustained, we are keeping it as a serious alarm with serious injury.
It's the second auto-pedestrian crash recorded on Guam within the first 2 weeks of the new year. On New Year's Day, a man died after being hit by a car along Route 1 in Dededo. It's a risk, and the reality Bill says people in situations like him face each day while living out on the streets.
They're just people like us, like what? We have nothing. But when they're out there asking for help, even if asking for help, we're there to help them. When you're standing on the road, we help.
Yeah.
Us pedestrians see car run out of gas, we help put it off the car. Not because we have to, because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. What safety measures do you want the government to give you?
The safety measures is get the government off us and quit debating about how we're going to help the community, man. Stick to your word.
An emotional time for the victim's friends at the scene. Meantime, the woman hit by the car was last listed in critical condition at GRMC. The driver involved was speaking with police on scene. Authorities are investigating.
We offer our prayers to the woman in that crash for her speedy recovery.
And this afternoon, police updated that the woman is now in stable condition.
Meantime, the crash happened during drive time early Monday evening. Roads were busy at that time.
So what more can be done to keep our roads safer, especially for pedestrians? KUAM posing that very question to the Department of Public Works.
What does it really take to protect pedestrians on our island's roads? The Department of Public Works says it's a comprehensive approach, one that, among other factors, focuses on educating both drivers and pedestrians about traffic laws and safe behaviors on the road. KUAM reaching out to DPW following a woman being hit by a car while crossing the street along Route 16 in Dededo on Monday. DPW Office of Highway Safety sharing these critical tips to keep us all safe. Tip number 1, use crosswalks. Always cross at marked crosswalks and pay attention to pedestrian signals. Tip number 2, stay alert. Avoid distractions like texting or wearing headphones while crossing. Other tips they suggest: make eye contact. Always ensure drivers see you before stepping into the street. Include wearing reflective clothing at night or in low light conditions. And walking safely. This could be done by using sidewalks whenever available. If none is present, the next best thing to do is walk on the roadside facing traffic. And while sidewalks and crosswalks are just some examples of pedestrian infrastructure that supports safe and convenient walking, there are still improvements that need to be made on our roads, like expanding sidewalks, installing well-lit and clearly marked crosswalks, and adding pedestrian refuge islands in high-traffic areas. It's all part of DPW's key initiatives to ensure the community's safety. Meantime, the Office of Highway Safety is conducting outreach campaigns collecting public feedback to pinpoint safety concerns. DPW says this input will drive the development of future pedestrian safety programs. For a full list of DPW's initiatives, visit KUAM.com.
Well, Monday night's crash happening near an intersection where many of the island's homeless gather.
Many of them there trying to get donations just to get their next meal. Nevaeh Anderson has more on how the Attorney General continues his push to address the homeless situation on Guam.
Monday night's crash reignites discussions about road safety and Guam's growing homelessness crisis. Attorney General Douglas Moylan says addressing these issues is key to improving public safety.
Those potholes all over that Dededo village in Jigo and those ones on the main road that we've lived with literally 20 freaking years.
Moylan's agenda includes tackling homelessness through stricter law enforcement and community initiatives. However, he says it's not just about fixing roads. Panhandlers entering intersections create an additional hazard.
And when you get panhandlers that first start going into intersections, what's next? When you've got your kids in the back seat and having to avoid and distract you from that green light or that red light or that yellow light, and somebody gets killed, let alone that panhandler.
Moylan also criticized Governor Luliang Guerrero's handling of the situation, arguing her administration's inaction has exacerbated the crisis.
When a governor comes in, they're supposed to appoint qualified individuals to address all the different problems that a community faces and also have the plan for the future of our people. The homeless and the poor are preventing us from jumping to the next level of Guam's future.
To combat the issue, Moylan has proposed a temporary tent city in Tizen, emphasizing that this solution would provide short-term support without disrupting the community or tourism.
This is not meant to be a permanent tent city. The model is basically you take care of them in the evenings and then the daytime they go out. This is not a military housing confined environment. You're there by your own will and wanting to get help.
The AG also addressed Guam's drug problem, accusing the governor of failing to enforce stricter inspections by Port Authority.
Governor, you better check those containers, all of them. Don't give me this random check number. That meth is coming through that port.
Despite his sharp criticism, Moylan says he's willing to collaborate with the governor, but his requests have gone unanswered.
Start listening to us, Governor. We're not just private attorneys. We are the people's attorneys. Just like you're the people's governor, we need to work together to solve this.
The AG also faces questions about his fiancée Sheena Lynn Hawkins being appointed his chief of staff following the sudden resignation of Yolanda Elliott. Moylan defends the decision, claiming it was properly vetted by Chief Deputy AG Joseph Guthrie.
Chief Deputy, I said, find a person to fill this, and I'll go with it. Ms. Hawkins, who's not my wife, who's not my sister. She's a close friend of mine that helped me get elected and is now my fiancée.
With the AG and Adelup at odds, public concern about homelessness, drugs, and public safety remain unresolved. Residents are left wondering when meaningful action will be taken. Nevaeh Anderson, KUAM News.
Panhandling is illegal. That's the message the elected AG is promoting this month on his public billboards.
But do you agree? KUAM intern Rachel Sudd gets the pulse of the community.
Panhandling continues to spark heated debates among residents, and yet panhandlers remain present in high-traffic intersections despite increased enforcement efforts.
I think they did try and help them, but I don't know what's happening again, why they're all out there again.
Local residents share their insights into whether they view panhandling as a criminal act or not.
It is a crime? Why would it be a crime giving money to homeless people?
More residents agreeing that panhandling should not be considered a crime.
No, I don't think so. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. They're just trying to get somewhere, I guess.
They believe that panhandlers often ask for money purely for survival, a need that should be met with compassion rather than criminalization.
If it's a homeless, I will guarantee just give them the money because they do need it for their survival. I'll give them the money for them, just for them to survive.
And even if these panhandlers do not use the money for survival purposes, residents feel it's ultimately their choice.
I mean, if it's up to you and if you just want to give them money, it's up to you if you want to. But if they want to use the money for something else, that's up to them.
With panhandlers still a frequent sight on the streets, residents are calling for solutions that address their immediate needs.
We could just make some kind of charity for them for food and a little bit of shelter until they get back on their feet.
Provide them shelter. That's okay. At least they have shelter, a roof over their heads. They have something for themselves to eat. That's a place for them to sleep.
It's all things residents wish that can provide meaningful support.
And so some local residents believe panhandling is not a crime and emphasize the need for more compassionate solutions that address the root causes of homelessness and poverty. Rachel Suh reporting for KUAM News.
KUAM News presents The Hub, where America's stories begin this Wednesday following primetime.
It's here we look into some of the issues unfolding across the island. This week, we speak with multiple people who set up home in the jungle area along Route 16 in Harmon, each sharing how they are just trying to survive in the place they were born and
How
raised.
long have you been homeless?
More than 18 years.
18 years. And Guam, you were born and raised here?
Yes, I'm Chamorro, from Agate.
Okay.
So we're trying our best to survive, and we're all handicaps here.
Watch The Hub, where America's stories begin, premiering tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8 and streaming on Peacock.
Up next, throwing punches via press release. Governor Lulian Guerrero, Senator Chris Barnett at odds again.
Plus is a public-private partnership for the island's only public hospital needed. You're watching KUAM.
When I was younger, my calling was to play football. But as I grew older, I grew wiser. I realized life isn't about how many people you can knock down. It's about how many people you can lift up. At Ram, our calling is to build game-changing trucks. So when you find your calling, nothing can stop you from answering it.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Superspeed your life with Docomo Pacific Fiber Internet. Get symmetrical upload and download speeds up to 5 gigs. Get started with Fiber 500 at $145 a month, Fiber 1 gig at $215 a month, or Fiber 5 gig at $299 a month. Plus, get 2 SuperPod 6Es with any plan, and a free EcoFlow River 3 and bonus welcome kit with 1 gig and 5 gig plans. Experience tomorrow's islands today with Docomo Pacific Fiber Internet.
Welcome back to Primetime. Ramrodding her preferred hospital, Senator Chris Barnett going after the governor's proposal to return Ipoh Point property to the Perez family.
Barnett and Governor Lou Leon Guerrero have been at odds over where to put a hospital. The Magahaga expects to break ground in Mangilao this year. However, Senator Barnett expressed concern that giving back the property could undermine public trust and resources, especially if it is developed for personal gain. Barnett adding the property should be used to benefit the community, not for luxury homes and condominium real estate developments that he says would only serve a select few.
The senator stating the governor, quote, lives within walking distance of the Ipoh Point property. If the land were to be returned and developed into luxury homes or condos, it could increase her property value, personally benefiting her and creating a clear conflict of interest. He adds this raises serious ethical concerns about the true intentions of her proposed legislation. She should just be honest with the people of Guam.
The governor's office immediately calling Senator Chris Barnett's statements misleading. This after she proposed legislation to return the Ipoh Point property to the Perez family. Adelup stating in part, Gov Guam has within its power the ability to return the Ipoh Point land to its original landowners. But Barnett is flip-flopping on his previous advocacy for land returns to original landowners and trying to block the Perez family from benefiting from the land their grandfather and great-grandfather worked hard to earn.
The Magahaga adding, quote, it seems his true motivation is to block the governor from building a new hospital at all costs and curry favor with his wealthy doctor's benefactors, even if it costs original landowners the rights to their property. That's truly malfunction, she adds. Meantime, the former health oversight chair is keeping close watch on activities at the Guam Memorial Hospital. Senator Teresa Lahi introducing Bill 13. The measure would establish a public-private partnership for Guam's public hospital. Terlahi stating, quote, it allows the government to ensure critical services like maternal care remain accessible while bringing in private sector expertise to improve efficiency and address long-standing challenges. In early 2014, Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio publicly supported the idea in the midst of financial struggles.
And ahead of President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration, Guam delegate James Moylan co-sponsored a pair of resolutions expunging the impeachments of Trump. House Resolution 24 calls for the December 18, 2019 impeached to be expunged, stating Trump was wrongfully accused of misconduct.
Congressman Moylan also co-sponsoring House Resolution 25, calling for the July 13, 2021 impeachment of Trump to be expunged. It states prior to considering and voting on the impeachment resolution, Democratic leadership in the House made no efforts to understand the rationale behind the widespread mistrust harbored by American voters in the wake of the 2020 presidential election. Both resolutions were referred to the Committee on Judiciary. Overnight, an earthquake with a magnitude 6.9 struck the Kyushu region of southern Japan. Buildings and houses were rocked strongly, seen from footage by local surveillance camera in Miyazaki City. With a population of roughly 400,000 people, tsunami advisories for waves of a maximum height of 1 meter were issued for the southern prefectures of Miyazaki and Koshi. A 20-centimeter tsunami was later recorded reaching Miyazaki City. No tsunami watches or warnings were triggered for the Marianas.
Well, at least 24 people have been killed in the devastating fires ravaging parts of Southern California, with dozens still missing.
Fire officials gearing up to make swift changes ahead of strong winds expected in the region.
Firefighters in Southern California are still working to contain the active fires raging in the region, launching an all-out aerial assault over the weekend of water and flame retardant.
We had the wind at our favor. However, it was like the Alamo. That was our last stand, and we wanted to make sure these thousands of homes were protected.
Footage captured in the historically black community of Altadena shows rows of homes wiped out by the Eaton fire, where crews continue to search for victims. This home security camera shows how quickly the Santa Ana winds fanned the deadly Palisades fire, scorching more than 23,000 acres over the last few days. As residents of Los Angeles County prepare for another strong wind event, they're also being told to beware of scammers preying on people in disaster zones.
They stole over $200,000, as been alleged by the charging documents.
More than 15,000 firefighters are now in place, compared to fewer than 1,500 when the fire started.
All fire departments and all law enforcement agencies in the area will be prepared.
The National Weather Service is issuing a PDS warning, which stands for Particularly Dangerous Situation, concerning those Santa Ana winds, which are expected to bring gusts as high as 70 miles per hour to parts of Los Angeles and Ventura counties.
Now for your world at home.
Here's a view of Agate Beach.
New year, new me. A year of possibilities starts now, and it all begins at Kmart. From health to home, we got everything you need to start fresh and thrive in the new year. Kickstart healthy habits with pantry essentials and nutritious options for your family. Keep your home sparkling with cleaning solutions designed to make life easier and fresher. Looking to crush your fitness goals? Find workout gear and activewear to get you moving. Need to revamp your style? Check out our newest apparel for the whole family. And for the heart of your home, discover appliances and home goods to make your life easier and more comfortable. Busy families, moms on the go, and everyone in between. Kmart is here for you. A fresh start is just one shopping trip away. Kmart, new year, new me, a year of possibilities. Find it all at Kmart.
Leaving my phone and bush cutter outside. What's gonna happen? Ooh. Yeah, oh, take it. Come on, bro, it's free. Bro, yo, bro. Just take it.
Looking to ditch your old phone?
Take it.
Trade into Guam's most reliable network and get an extra $300 off the latest phones on any unlimited plan. GTA, we start with you.
Pickleball is really a strategic game. It's not just all physical, it's mental, and just knowing the rules and the dynamics of how to play, where to hit the ball, know your opponent. Yeah. It's a challenging sport.
Pickleball's exploding worldwide and lines up perfectly with island athletics. You see it all over your social timelines. Anyone can play. There's participation from locals, the military, and tourists, and the barrier to entry is very inexpensive.
Question they ask, where can we play?
Yeah.
What time do you play? What's the level of people playing?
But the sport's success on Guam reveals pickleball's predicament. Demand is exceeding supply.
It's growing too fast that we can't find places to play, and the courts are always full every night. You come here every night, the courts are full. Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday at 2 morning, it's always full. So there's always a bunch of players.
At year end of 2022, we have around 100 plus members. End of 2023, we have 199, and end of 2024, we have around 250 members.
However, there is a plan, and it's an ambitious one. The sports organizing leaders want pickleball to be accessible, successful, and competitive to train players at all levels, recreationally, competitively, interscholastically, and towards a national team.
In school, they have their own pickleball activities. I think Harvest have it, Mount Carmel have it, and We were hoping to discuss it with both the public school and the private school to have something that is put it as part of their curriculum as a PE, and at the same time have sort of an interscholastic competition.
These professionals can come and say, hey, why don't you do it this way, and it's good to hear from someone who really knows the game, and they'll listen.
The Pickleball Guam Association envisions certified instructors, frequent tournaments, strong membership, quality courts, a solid bank account, and top caliber competition. They're emulating models created by local federations for soccer, tennis, basketball, and rugby to drive their progress.
When we have sort of new players, let's say go to Tamuning, we entertain them, we teach them the basics, but it's not something that's really for recreational. But for them to be developed as world-class pickleball players, we really need to have a program.
And as it stands, there are courts popping up all over our villages to give players a place to work on their games.
We're under discussion with the Department of
Parks and Recs.
We have sort of an MOU to adopt a park, and that would be the League One part here somewhere in though. What we have, of course, here, and then we would have Tamuning, which is sort of we tape every night because it's not a dedicated one for us. I think some of the villages would have it because it's so, I know one of the Baptist church would have a painted court, PT has a court, PT Community Center has a court, some of the schools would have that. So it's easy to create a court.
Let your people know. When it comes to the pickle to chicken ratio, some people, they playing in your face, but not the McCrispy. Let your people know. When it comes to the pickle to chicken ratio, some people, they playing in your face, but not the McCrispy.
Island Cancer Center has the only state-of-the-art Halcyon Linear Accelerator, providing radiation treatments in the Asia-Pacific region. We are excited to be back up and running after Typhoon Mara. We have been providing the highest quality patient-centered care for 14 years and will continue to do so. Why? Because we love what we do. Island Cancer Center, our family treating your family. Visit us at islandcancercenter.com or call 671-646-3363.
Giving Every Tuesday is brought to you by J. Goodman, a happiness company.
In this week's Giving Every Tuesday, the season of giving doesn't have to end with the holidays. The Office of Homelessness, Assistance and Poverty Prevention, the Guam Public Library System, and the Guam Council on the Arts and Humanities are teaming up to support our island community through a special hygiene drive. From now until January 24th, you can donate much-needed hygiene items, new and unused toiletries for all ages, including both travel and full-size, to help those in need. Items like shampoo, deodorant, soap, menstrual care products, and even socks can make a big difference in someone's life. Donations can be dropped off at the OHAP office on the second floor in the ITC building, the KAHA office on the second floor at the DNA building, or at various Guam Public Library System branches across the island. Let's come together to make a difference. For more information, contact the OHAP office at 671-475-2081 or follow Guam OHAP on Instagram. You can also visit one of the drop-off locations near you.
Giving Every Tuesday is brought to you by J. Goodman, a happiness company.
Hey, let's do this together. Dinanya. All right, partners. Matanya. Look it up. And the word you need to know is Ihinanauta. It's a cultural show and experience that's being put on by the Department of Chamorro Affairs, the museum, and the Office of the Governor and Lieutenant Governor. It's going to be happening at the museum and lots of travel opportunities. You got to be 16 and attend the music and dance workshops. Celebrate our culture. It's a wonderful thing. Get involved. You're going to have a good time. The Women's Chamber of Commerce is holding their first general membership meeting. So if you are a member, make plans to be at the Crown Plaza Resort, 7:30 a.m. in the morning. Man, they start early. On January 16th, kick off the new year with exciting updates and make wonderful connections. And we've been telling you about the Ukadu 2K 5K. Woof, woof. The Bulldog Bash is going to happen, and those guys know how to run, and they are hosting a 2K 5K for you and me over at Chamorro Village. That's a straight shot course. It's a really, really fast one, too. Go time 6 a.m. on 5:15 showtime, so you can get your stretching, maybe do some planks. Personally, I would not do planks prior to running a 5K, but you know, that's just me. Shout out to our friends at the Bulldogs for making this happen. Also, whoa, that's weird. See that, Nick and Destiny? That's out of place.
Now for your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shoutouts,
which you can submit on KUAM.com.
Happy birthday to Marvin Sweeney on this 14th of January. Your friends and family and loved ones say happy birthday, Marvin.
And happy birthday to all of you celebrating out there today. That's your Primetime Show. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz-Langus. Have a great evening and stay beautiful.
Health, Home, and Lifestyle is brought to you by The Medical City, your trusted partner in health. Hello and Hafaday Guam. I'm Jason Salas with KUAM. Welcome to another episode of Health, Home, and Lifestyle, where we show you how to live a healthy and happy island life. Here's what we have for you this week.
House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
Hafaday, everybody. House to Home is coming to you. We are in person. Hi, you guys. I missed you.
Yeah.
So
I know
nice
it's
to see
different,
you.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
New year, new us, right? Well, same us.
Same us, New Year. We haven't grown since the last time you saw us.
Yeah, trust me, if
We're
all,
still
of
the
us,
same.
if all of us stood up, this would look much different and everything. But
Yeah.
Liz, Gina, and myself, Jason, are here, and we are talking about real estate, of course. Ladies, we were talking about rentals today.
Yes.
Has the practice of rentals changed in the 30-some years since both of you got into the business, as far as if you're looking, what you have to prepare for, the decisions you have to make?
Well, it hasn't really changed much, but we're finding that owners are scrutinizing applicants right now. So usually when Gina and I get a call, we usually advise them, well, this is the process. You're going to need an application form. You're going to need your last 2 pay stubs. So for every adult, they're going to need an application form. On top of that, if you're looking at a rent for $1,200 times 3, your monthly salary has to equate to that amount. And if it doesn't, then how can you afford to keep the rental going for the rest of the year? So yes, we screen them. We don't just put them in our cars and go show properties. We, you know, on the front end, we always ask the question, because I don't want to waste their time and we don't want to waste our time. We got to make sure that we have all the ducks in order, that they have the ability to rent.
And you know, ducks actually have like a specific order when they're walking. Like it's the big and most dominant one, or the parent first, and everybody else falls in line. And that, that kind of is the point. I mean,
everything has an order.
There's a pecking order, even though ducks don't peck. Do ducks peck?
Ducks peck. Yeah,
ducks
they do.
peck.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been bitten by a duck, but I don't know if they peck.
Yeah, they definitely peck. And so do landlords. And so, you know, that I think that for me has been the difference. In the past, when I first got into real estate, we didn't have a clear-cut formula about what landlords expect when you put the tenants in. And I don't think landlords, I mean, they just generally had the opinion that you have to be able to afford it, but we didn't have a formula that we actually used. But that formula has been in place for years now. You have to make at least 3 times the amount of the rent in order for the landlord to say, okay. And I think that comes from the process when you get a mortgage payment. They want to make sure that your income that you have left over after you pay your bills is 36 to 40%, that the mortgage payment is going to equate to not more than 36 or 40% of what you're making. So I think that formula has been translated into how much are you making a month, and they don't want you to go over a certain amount from your paycheck to that amount on the rent. So a lot of the realtors, I mean, I think all of them now are mindful of that, and the landlords are looking at that. So yeah, you know, there's definitely a process for this, and we're putting out that information because it's important for people to know it's difficult to buy real estate right now. So the alternative is you've got to rent. And lucky if you could find something for $1,200. I don't even think $1,200 is a reasonable amount anymore. I think you know, the range right now, I believe, is from 15 to 2,000 some. Like a 1-bedroom right now is like 1,400, 13 to 1,400. It can be.
Okay, and with these ladies being so very uncommon times, right, with the economy being what it is, we've talked about the the interest rate, fluctuating, hopefully on a downward trend like right now, has the concept of leases, because we're talking about rent, have the terms of like a lease change? Because I remember it used to be at least 1 year, and then like a lot of landlords will say, you can go month to month afterwards, or we have 1 year renewables. Has that changed too?
No, well, the leases right now are still minimum 1 year lease. Now, there are some owners that are willing to take short term, and short term could mean 3 months or it could mean 6 months. And we get visitors that come in that may need a 3 month or a 6 month. So both Gina and I would be on the phone calling around saying, hey, your property's listed. Will you take a short-term lease? And sometimes, even with the 1 year leases, the landlords always are scrutinizing them to make sure they've got a good tenant. And if, let's say, we have an off-island tenant that comes in, sometimes for the big corporations, we do a penalty that if they break their lease, there is a penalty for breaking that lease. Or the landlord, it'll be stipulated in the lease. Like if you break the lease early, there's a 2 month penalty. If not, the landlord certainly can go after the tenant for the full term of that year. Now, we do have cases where the tenant has to leave, and they'll call Gina and myself, hey, we need to replace the tenant. But first and foremost, we contact the landlord. Will you allow it? It's always up to the landlord. Will you allow a replacement tenant? And in the meantime, that current tenant will have to keep paying the rent.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
But for the local families that we're working with,
it's a different process.
It's a different process, and landlords have different requirements. So the market has gotten really tough, and so we try to set up our customers to. We don't want to fail them.
Yes.
And so that's why when they contact us, we tell them, fill out the application, because when you find a good home you're interested in, we want to move quickly, because
there's competition.
That one good priced home in a good area, there's probably going to be 5 to 10 people eyeing it.
If it looks good to you, it's probably going to look good to at least somebody, one other person.
So
you always talk about, like, sometimes if a deal is too good to be true,
be careful.
Be careful, yeah. Well, the other thing we want to bring up is, like, if your intent is to rent to the military tenant, we're at the mercy of the military housing office requirements. So they have their stringent guidelines. So if you don't want to, they want your business license, they want to do an inspection, everything there's a list that we have to comply with. So if the landlord, because I think we had one landlord who stated, I don't have to give you the business license. Well, it means you're not going to get a military tenant. Military housing office requires business license, inspection, certain verbiage in the contract. So none of the military tenants are able to sign their leases. They have to run to the housing to get their approval. And then hopefully by that time we've got the landlord's signature and it's in place so that when they're ready, we can move forward, but only if the housing office inspects it and it passes.
And since we're talking about rentals, ladies, are there any major differences that our viewers should know about when it comes to renting an apartment versus a condo versus a house versus some other structure?
For me, I think the process is the same.
Universal.
I think the process is the same, but there's governing rules that may apply at a condominium or an apartment building. Most HOAs have house rules and bylaws that you have to be aware of as a tenant. And hopefully the agent you're working with has given you copies of that so you can follow those guidelines. Plus, if you're renting in a condo and an apartment, be mindful of that. If you know your family, you know, I mean, I know how my family lives, and I know we would not do well living in an apartment complex because we're loud, we're all over the place.
You don't say.
Yeah,
I never would know that in the 10 years we've been doing this show. Wow.
I absolutely know. And so if I'm mindful of that, and if I'm going to rent a condominium and an apartment, and I know how my grandkids are, and I'm going to be on the second floor, and I know they're going to be there on weekends and stay up late, and we're running all over the place, I have to be mindful that the people below me or the people around me may not appreciate my noise.
You're that kind of grandma, so instead of using WhatsApp to get in touch with one of the grands, and you'll just yell down from floor 3 to floor 1.
Exactly.
Why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Your prerogative.
And so I know that about my family and how we live, and so be mindful of that if you're going into a condo or an apartment.
So one thing I want to bring up is sometimes families say, well, I guess I got a call one day. We've got 8 kids and they're 2 adults, and they want to rent a 2-bedroom. You can't just rent a 2-bedroom. There's a requirement in terms of how many people can occupy a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom. So right now we are finding families that have a big family and they want to move in because the rental rate is good. But the problem is if there's too many of you, it won't accommodate your needs in this small square footage.
People think they're being clever by saying, okay, like you've got kid 1, kid 2, and 3, we'll all share a futon and stuff like that. Yeah.
So we've had to tell people, I'm sorry, this won't work. It won't. This unit won't accommodate the number of people that want to rent here.
Okay, and lastly, because this is very interesting, you know, Guam is small, and on Guam, reputation, as you've said many, many times on the show, the both of you, reputation is everything. So, how much does the reputation of the renter, depending on what kind of tenant you are, if you go from like, you know, rental property to rental property, how much does that maybe help or hurt your chances of getting like, you know, the next place? If you're a bad tenant, like if you're late on your payments, if you're noisy, if you're sloppy,
if your previous landlord gives you bad references, I've seen our landlord, you know, the landlord. Sometimes they don't, but it's when they don't say anything, you know, because we do call when we screen the tenants, we do call their previous landlord if there is one. If there isn't, then we have a whole lot of questions we want to ask. But when you do call, some landlords will give you great references, and that's great. You pass that on to the new owner that they're going to rent from, and that's a big benefit. But if they don't have references, I actually always tell the people I'm working with, you know, not having references actually makes it a lot harder for me to prove to this owner that you want to rent from that they should give you their unit, because some owners actually tell me, Gina, I'd rather keep the unit empty than put in a tenant that I have to deal with. Yeah. It's really stressful dealing with bad tenants.
Well, the question
I run into that a lot.
When we call the landlords, we'll ask, did they pay rent on time? How did they maintain the property?
Yeah.
Because if they trashed it, broke the windows, broke the screen door, these are tenants that maybe our landlord may not want to take. So, and then sometimes drive by where they were currently living just to see, were they truthful? Did they maintain the property? And so
character means a lot.
Yes.
It always does. It means a lot in every field, not just when you're renting. It means a lot, period.
You know, and even with pets, that's another factor. Oh, our pet is trained. By the time they leave the unit, it's damaged. The pet chewed on everything. So these are things that we certainly look at.
Yeah.
Okay, and or if people mistreat their pet, like they leave the pet and the pet's really got to go to the bathroom all day long, and they just leave it in the house.
Smells.
Okay. Before we go, ladies, let's both hold up 2 hands like this. This is the number of years we've been doing on this show. Each 10 years. It's our 10-year anniversary. Happy anniversary!
Wow. Happy anniversary! You got to celebrate.
It's been that long.
Wait. Ready? 1, 2, 3. House to home. Took us 10 years to do that. It has been an absolute delight working with the both of you.
We love it.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
Want a real taste of New York? The classic New York style pizza offers a big, bold taste that's a Guam favorite. It's handmade with 16 inches of foldable crust, a sweet marinara sauce, and your favorite topping. And at 30% larger than our large, classic New York pizza is only $12.99 for carryout. Bring together your family and friends for a classic New York pizza party. Each pizza is just $12.99 for carryout. Classic New York style pizza, so close you can taste it. Only at your Island Pizza Hut.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Weekly Renewal is brought to you by Calvo Select Care.
Half a day, I'm Clara Calvo, bringing you your weekly renewal. Today I am here with my business partner, my good friend, Jez Moylan. Welcome, Jez.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Okay, so there's so many exciting things I want to talk about. Okay. First and foremost, this last year, 2024, you hit some pretty incredible milestones and you started a journey in fitness. Can you share with our viewers what exactly that entailed?
Absolutely. So, I was honored when you had asked me 4 years ago maybe to be one of your partners. And at that point, I wasn't really ready to... Synergy Studios, yes. I wasn't really ready to come back and do anything more so for myself, right, in the whole fitness and wellness aspect. And so I believe it was last year when I told all of you that I was like, okay, I think I'm finally ready to come back and start instructing again, and it just so happened that we were bringing Pilates Reformer into the studio. Yeah. And so I was like, that looks pretty interesting, and I took the classes, I fell in love with it, and it's funny because that wasn't what I had ever planned to teach coming back to the studio. It never is. It was, it was never a thought, nothing. But that was the goal I set for myself last year, so I felt like I accomplished a personal goal, as well as an overall goal being part of Synergy. I'm back to instructing again, and it's wonderful, and it was definitely not easy. I was very humbled by that journey.
But isn't it beautiful how that happens? Like a lot of times you're like, okay, I'm going to plan it this way, and then it's kind of like God, the universe, is like, okay, no, actually, this is how it's going to go. It's like, and you're like, okay, you just surrender to what is.
Absolutely, and I had such great support from all of you. I mean, I would call you crying, like, Claire, I don't know how you guys do this, like all the hours, right, that you had to accumulate, but it was. One word I would use is definitely humbling, but I'm very proud of myself and proud to be part of bringing that to be here at Synergy. So I love it so much. I'm addicted.
Well, it's all, and yeah, we could tell. Because it's amazing because you stepped into the role, you got certified, and I remember in the very beginning you were a little nervous about it, like, I don't know, I haven't taught in so long. And now everyone raves about your classes. Everyone raves about all of the instructors, yes. But I want to talk specifically because there is really this big, Pilates has really taken off on Island. I mean, Pilates has always been around, we've had instructors, yes. We've had, but also like Pepe, like way back.
Oh, yes.
So it's been around for a while, and but I just feel like this past year or two, it's really exploded. And what do you think it is? What do you think that special element is about Pilates that gets people hooked?
I think it's just, honestly, I think the one thing that we always promote here at Synergy, it's basically your motto that you've instilled in all of us, is we provide a work in as well as a work out. So I feel that the way Pilates is structured is to give you just that. So it's kind of like you come in, yes, you get the physical aspect, which is amazing, but then you also get some type of spiritual connection to yourself. I mean, Pilates involves a lot of breath work, so breath work is also part of the spiritual realm of things, right? So I feel that's what it is. I feel like you just leave feeling great physically, emotionally, mentally, and I feel it's an in-between for people who don't necessarily practice the art of yoga. It's kind of like an in-between where that's how I see it.
Okay, well I know you do, it's also a lot of core work, so like physically, it's a full body workout, right? And it's a lot of, and it's not jarring in any way.
No.
But is there a mental component to it?
I think so, absolutely. I mean, I feel like we've had so many different walks of life stop into the studio. You have from athletes to just an everyday business person, you know, and so you really see how Pilates is all about core, right? And I used to think core was, oh my gosh, you have nice abs, you have this and that, but it isn't. It's deeper than that. And you see someone who can physically look their best, but then have a very weak core. And then someone who may not be physically all, you know, from head to toe, aesthetically, there you go, that's the word. But their core is incredible, you know? So I think it's also one of those mental things where you challenge yourself, where you're like, oh, I'm gonna get there, I wanna do this, I wanna do that. And it really is an everyday kind of motivational thing where...
Thank you for joining us. Join me next week again with Desiree for part 2 of the series.
Weekly Renewal is brought to you by Calvo Select Care.
Something is calling, and I can't help it. Let's don't belong when there ain't no soul. Watch me as I go. This is my mood when I make a move. Watch me as I go. This is my mood when let's take a break. There's no use. This is my mood when I make a move. This is my mood when
Hey, Devontae.
Let me get a cantina chicken burrito in a bowl with that seasoned, slow-roasted chicken I like, please.
You have a golf course in your house?
I got a Taco Bell in my house, bro.
Where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, there it is.
Cheaters don't get chicken. Huh? Cheaters get no chicken.
I won't give him any.
Health Check is brought to you locally by Island Cancer Center.
Half a day, everybody. This is Health Check, and I have the very distinct pleasure of being joined by Kevin Hines. He's a visitor to our island, and as is Island Hospitality, we welcome him with open arms, especially when he was sharing very valuable information that benefit all of us. A very, very personal story to you, Kevin, but you're using your own experience to benefit society and everything. So, I mean, that's an incredibly selfless thing to do, but half a day and welcome to Guam.
Nice to meet you, half a day. Right back at you.
We're very happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. So excited to be here.
Okay, so you're sharing on behalf of the Totu Guam Foundation, our good friends over there. You know, the Rodriguez family is so wonderful. They bring you out here to share a message of resilience, of self-awareness, I would say, and, you know, please tell me your own story.
Absolutely. You know, the Totu Guam Foundation is incredible. So is the Behavioral Health Department here in Guam. And they brought me out here to share my story of triumph over trauma and purpose over pain. In the year 2000, due to bipolar depression, Jason and I leapt off the Golden Gate Bridge to try to take my life. A method of suicide that is 99% fatal. I got the gift of a second chance, and I'm not going to squander that. I'm going to travel the world anywhere between 250 to 300 days a year, sharing stories of hope, healing, and recovery from brain pain, trying to help people who are in dire straits, who are thinking of suicide, recognize their true value, that suicide is not the answer, and that hope exists. If you haven't reached it yet, you just haven't walked far enough, keep going. And so the goal...
clearly you were chosen.
Well, you know, I think that I do believe that God saved my life that day. There were a lot of things that came into play that were crucial in saving my life and keeping me above water. One of them was a sea lion that kept me afloat in the waters under the Golden Gate Bridge until the Coast Guard boat arrived behind me. One of them, in fact, was a woman who was driving by at the moment I leapt over the rail in a red car, and she called her friend, her colleague in the Coast Guard, and told him exactly where I was in the water. One of the only reasons they knew exactly where to go to get me out to safety. Before the Coast Guard boat arrived, the sea lion kept me afloat, saving my life. And then one of the foremost back surgeons in the world, Dr. Jonathan Levin, who I've just reunited with recently after 22 years. He saved me the ability to stand, walk, and run. I had shattered 3 vertebrae. I had missed severing my spinal cord by 2 millimeters. And Dr. Levin and his team, and Dr. Ma, and everybody involved at Marin Medical Health Center gave me a leg to stand on, if you will.
Mm-hmm. How high above sea level is the Golden Gate Bridge, Kevin?
It's 220 foot above the water, the rail, the walkway.
22 stories.
20, it's exactly 25 stories.
25 stories.
Right,
okay.
at the place that I jumped. It's exactly 25 stories. And in the seconds it took to fall from the walkway to the waters below the bridge, I prayed to God that I would live. And I believe wholeheartedly that God saved my life that day through that sea lion, through that doctor at the hospital, through that woman driving by.
Yes, sir.
Through all the onlookers who saw what happened, and the people that fought to keep me alive in the hospital.
Well, I'm sure that Rodriguez told you, Kevin, first of all, it's wonderful to have you here. And we here on the island are people of great faith. And we believe in a higher power. Guam is, I believe, 91% Roman Catholic and everything. So yes, we absolutely believe that, you are here for a reason, and to share your story and to help others that may be suffering, confused. Is that true?
I think that's accurate. I'm of the Roman Catholic faith, born and raised. I was telling someone else today, the only time I lost my faith was when I was standing atop the Golden Gate Bridge walkway looking down. And as my father is fond of saying to his buddies at baseball games, Kevin found him on the way down. And I really did. I prayed that I would live, and God saved my life. And I can't deny that. I pray every day for every person going through brain and mental pain, struggling with suicidal ideations. My only hope is that this tour we're doing in Guam has a ripple effect, causing people in that brain pain to harness their true power to survive and to someday thrive.
Now let me make sure I get the context correctly, because when you say brain pain and mental health and mental wellness, these are people that you said you had bipolar disorder. So these are people like maybe perhaps bipolar disorder, depression,
schizophrenia, anxiety,
yes, as well as perhaps people who may be suffering from like ADHD,
addictions, the whole nine. And so
and people that may just be going through something and behaviorally.
Going through something behaviorally, they're struggling with their mind, their brain, their behavioral health. Their kids are struggling.
So whether you were clinically diagnosed or you're just going through really,
just
really tough
going
times.
through it, and
you literally are their avenging angel at this point in your life.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say that what a friend of mine I think said it best. She said I was a beacon of hope, and if I can be that for people in any way, shape, or form, I'll be doing that until the day I die of natural causes.
Okay, and let me just let's end with this, Kevin, because if people are watching this right now and for whatever reason, logistically, like lack of a ride, or they're not able to make your wonderful presentation, if they're watching this right now, people going through things, old people, kids, anybody all over the world when this is on YouTube and everything, if you're going through something, what wisdom, what inspiration, what guidance can you offer them to show that there is hope?
Yes. I can say this. I have dealt with a great deal of pain in my life. I still deal with a great deal of pain in my life. But pain is inevitable. Suffering can be optional, a choice. If you choose to be the hero of your journey, no matter the pain you're in, you can still thrive, no matter what you're going through. Just because you're struggling with a world of pain today doesn't mean you don't get to have that beautiful tomorrow. But friends, you have to be here to get there in the first place. Forge forward, keep going, never give up, never give in, and please, I beg of you, never take your life. Suicide does not take the pain away. It transfers it on to everyone left behind and makes it wholly impossible for things to ever get better. And with time, energy, effort, and a great deal of hard work, you'll get better. I'm living proof.
And you've always got this. And you have that in abundance, Kevin.
Thank you.
And like you said, look to the good book.
Health Check is brought to you locally by Island Cancer Center.
That's going to do it for Health, Home, and Lifestyle this week, everybody. Please be safe and live healthy. KUAM TV8, first on Guam.